There is a remarkable amount of science hidden inside the humble potato, and one small choice we make in our kitchen can change its chemistry in a way that matters for our long-term health. It has to do with where we store it, and specifically, why the refrigerator is not its friend if we plan on making crispy, roasted potatoes or golden French fries. This isn't a cause for alarm, but a fascinating opportunity to understand our food better and make a simple adjustment that benefits our bodies. Today, we're going to look closely at this common kitchen habit. We will explore exactly what happens to a potato in the cold, discuss a compound called acrylamide without any fear-mongering, and I will share two simple, practical steps you can take, one for storage and one for preparation, to continue enjoying your favorite potato dishes with confidence and peace of mind. This is about making small, informed shifts that add up over time. Hello, my name is Dr. Daniel Bennett. For years, I've focused on translating complex health science into clear, practical guidance for everyday life, especially as we navigate our health after 60. If you believe that understanding your body is the first step to caring for it, you're in the right place. I invite you to subscribe and join our community here, where we explore these topics with clarity and calm. We'd love to have you with us. Let's begin with the refrigerator. For many of us, it seems like the default place to store produce to keep it fresh. We put our carrots, our celery, and our lettuce in there, so why not our potatoes? The reason lies in a quiet, invisible process that cold temperatures set in motion. Potatoes are living organisms, and they store their energy as starch. Think of starch as long, complex chains of sugar molecules, all linked together. In this form, they are stable. However, when a potato is stored at cold temperatures, typically below 45 degrees Fahrenheit or 7 degrees Celsius, the standard for a home refrigerator, it triggers a defense mechanism. The potato thinks it's entering a dormant winter period and needs readily available energy to survive. To get this energy, it activates an enzyme inside its cells called invertase. This enzyme acts like a pair of molecular scissors. It begins to snip those long, complex starch chains into smaller, simpler pieces. These smaller pieces are what scientists call reducing sugars, primarily glucose and fructose. So, a potato that has been sitting in the fridge for a week or two has a much higher concentration of these simple sugars than a potato that was stored in a cool, dark pantry. This change isn't something you can see or taste when the potato is raw, but it fundamentally alters how the potato behaves when it's exposed to high heat. This accumulation of reducing sugars is the first and most critical step in a chain reaction that we can easily interrupt, simply by rethinking where we keep our bag of spuds. The best place to store your potatoes is not the fridge, but a place that is cool, dark, and allows for some air circulation. The ideal temperature is between 45 and 50 degrees Fahrenheit, or 7 to 10 degrees Celsius. For most of us, that might sound like a professional root cellar, but we can easily replicate these conditions at home. A pantry, a cool cupboard away from the stove or dishwasher, or a corner of a basement works perfectly. Storing them in a paper bag or a basket is better than a plastic bag, as it allows moisture to escape and prevents the potatoes from getting damp and moldy. The darkness is also key. Exposure to light can cause potatoes to turn green. This greening is a sign of chlorophyll production, but it also indicates the presence of a compound called solanine, which can be bitter and cause stomach upset in large amounts. If you do see a little green on your potato, it's not a reason to discard the whole thing. Simply peel it or cut away the green portions generously before you cook it. By storing your potatoes this way, you are keeping those starch-snipping enzymes dormant. The potato remains in its ideal state, with its energy stored as complex starches, not simple sugars. This means it will not only last longer without sprouting, but it will also cook more predictably and, as we're about to see, more safely when we turn up the heat. So, we've established that cold storage increases the amount of simple sugars in a potato. Now, let's connect that to what happens in the oven or the frying pan. The central character in this part of our story is a compound called acrylamide. You may have heard this word before, and it often comes with a sense of worry, but I want to approach this with calm, scientific understanding. Acrylamide is not something that is added to our food. It's a compound that can form naturally in certain starchy foods during high-temperature cooking methods like frying, roasting, baking, or air frying. The process responsible is a well-known bit of kitchen chemistry called the Maillard reaction. This is the very reaction that gives us the beautiful browning on bread crust, the savory flavor of seared meat, and the delicious crispiness of a roasted potato. It's what makes food taste so good. The Maillard reaction happens when amino acids, the building blocks of protein, and reducing sugars are exposed to heat above about 250 degrees Fahrenheit or 120 degrees Celsius. Potatoes naturally contain an amino acid called asparagine. When a potato with a high concentration of reducing sugars is roasted or fried, the asparagine reacts with those sugars, and as a byproduct of that wonderful browning process, acrylamide can be formed. You can think of it like this. The Maillard reaction is a campfire. To get a nice, warm fire, your delicious, browned food, you need fuel, sugars, and a spark, heat. If you use a normal amount of fuel, you get a controlled, pleasant fire. But if you douse it with extra fuel, in this case, the excess reducing sugars from a refrigerated potato, the fire flares up. You get a much more intense reaction, which produces more smoke. In this analogy, acrylamide is part of that smoke. More sugar means a greater potential for acrylamide formation. Concerns about acrylamide arose from studies where laboratory animals were exposed to very high doses, far higher than what humans would typically consume through food. Based on this, some regulatory and health organizations advise people to reduce their dietary exposure to acrylamide as a precautionary measure. This is not a directive to stop eating roasted potatoes. It is an invitation to cook them more thoughtfully. The goal is to aim for a golden yellow or light brown color, not a dark brown or blackened one. That deep, dark color is a visual cue that a more intense chemical reaction has taken place, likely creating higher levels of acrylamide. This brings us to a common myth I'd like to address: the idea that the burnt bits are the best part. Many of us grew up enjoying those extra dark, crispy edges on roasted vegetables or potatoes. While a little bit of char can certainly be flavorful, making a habit of eating heavily browned or burnt starchy foods isn't the best practice from a long-term health perspective. It's about balance and moderation. Enjoying the flavor of browning without pushing it to the point of charring is a simple, effective strategy. By controlling the amount of starting sugar through proper storage and the intensity of the cooking by avoiding burning, we take back control. We can enjoy the wonderful flavors of the Maillard reaction while minimizing the creation of byproducts we don't want. The tangible benefit here is profound. It's the peace of mind that comes from knowing you are preparing a favorite comfort food in a way that is mindful of your health. Now we know why proper storage is so important, and we understand the compound we're trying to minimize. Let's move on to an incredibly simple, hands-on step you can take just before cooking that can dramatically reduce acrylamide formation, even if your potatoes weren't stored perfectly. This is the soaking solution. The principle here is wonderfully straightforward. Those reducing sugars that we've been talking about, the ones that build up on the surface of the potato, are water-soluble. This means they can dissolve in water. So, by simply soaking your cut potatoes in a bowl of water before you cook them, you can physically remove a significant portion of these surface sugars. Here is the precise method. After you've peeled your potatoes, or washed them well if you prefer skin on, and cut them into your desired shape, be it wedges for roasting or sticks for fries, place them in a large bowl. Cover them completely with cool tap water. Let them sit for just 15 to 30 minutes. You don't need to do this for hours. That short window is highly effective. During this time, the excess sugars on the cut surfaces of the potato will leach out into the water. When the time is up, pour the potatoes into a colander and discard the now slightly cloudy, sugar-rich water. You have effectively washed away a key ingredient for acrylamide formation. The next step is absolutely critical for getting a crispy result. You must dry the potatoes thoroughly. Spread them out on a clean kitchen towel or a few layers of paper towels and pat them until they are as dry as you can get them. Water is the enemy of crispiness. If the potatoes go into the oven or air fryer wet, they will steam instead of roast, resulting in a softer, less satisfying texture. Taking that extra minute to dry them properly makes all the difference. If you find this sort of practical, science-based tip helpful, take a moment to tap the subscribe button. That way, you won't miss our future videos where we continue to break down health topics into simple, manageable steps. This soaking technique is a perfect example of a small effort with a big payoff. Studies have shown that this simple rinse or soak can reduce the eventual acrylamide content by a very significant margin. And beyond the health consideration, it has a culinary benefit too. Rinsing away the excess surface starch helps the potatoes to cook more evenly and prevents them from sticking together, leading to a superior, crispier final product. You might just find that your roasted potatoes have never been better. Finally, while we've been focusing on how to make roasted and fried potatoes safer, it's also important to remember that these are not the only ways to enjoy this wonderfully versatile vegetable. By incorporating other cooking methods into our routine, we can sidestep the issue of acrylamide formation almost entirely. The key thing to remember is that acrylamide forms under dry, high-heat conditions. Cooking methods that use water or steam create a very different environment. When you boil or steam potatoes, the presence of water acts as a temperature regulator. The temperature of the food cannot go above the boiling point of water, which is 212 degrees Fahrenheit or 100 degrees Celsius. This is well below the threshold needed for the Maillard reaction to kick into high gear and produce acrylamide. This means that boiled potatoes, steamed new potatoes, or creamy mashed potatoes are all excellent choices that carry virtually no acrylamide risk. They allow you to benefit from all the wonderful nutrition that potatoes have to offer. Potatoes are an excellent source of potassium, which is crucial for maintaining healthy blood pressure, a key concern for many of us. They also provide vitamin C, an important antioxidant for immune function, and fiber, especially if you eat the skin, which supports digestive health and stable blood sugar. Baking a potato whole is another fantastic option. While the oven temperature is high, the interior of the potato effectively steams in its own skin. The skin itself will brown and form some acrylamide, but the amount is generally much lower than with frying, and the fluffy interior remains protected. A baked potato topped with some Greek yogurt for protein, some chives, and a drizzle of olive oil is a deeply satisfying and nutritionally balanced meal. A gentle safety note here: when preparing these dishes, be mindful of the additions. While the potato itself is healthy, loading it up with large amounts of butter, full-fat sour cream, and excessive salt can add significant amounts of saturated fat and sodium to your diet. Using herbs, spices, garlic, olive oil, and low-fat dairy are wonderful ways to add flavor while keeping the dish heart healthy. By diversifying how you cook potatoes, you are not only minimizing your exposure to acrylamide, but also enriching your diet and your culinary repertoire. One night you might have roasted potatoes made with our soaking method, and a few nights later, You might enjoy mashed potatoes alongside a piece of fish. This variety is not about restriction, it's about expansion. It's about having a full toolkit of options to enjoy this affordable, accessible, and nutritious food in the healthiest ways possible. It's truly empowering to realize how much control we have. With just a little bit of knowledge about how our food works, we can transform our daily habits. Choosing the pantry over the fridge for your potatoes, giving them a quick soak before roasting, and embracing boiling or baking more often. These are not drastic changes. They are small, gentle adjustments. These are the kinds of steps that build a foundation of health over a lifetime. It's not about achieving perfection overnight, but about making one informed choice at a time. Be patient and kind with yourself as you incorporate new habits into your routine. Every small step forward is a victory for your well-being. I would love to hear from you. What is your favorite way to prepare potatoes? Share your go-to-healthy recipe or a tip in the comments below. Reading through the ideas and experiences of others is one of the best parts of this community. If you found this guidance clear and helpful, please give this video a like and consider sharing it with a friend or family member who might also benefit. Every share helps us reach more people over 60 with calm, credible health information. Thank you so much for your time and your trust today. I look forward to seeing you again in our next video.